Hi and welcome to the vlog. How are you all? I'm doing really well. I'm quite tired, but I've had a nap. The reason I'm tired is I started work at 5 this morning, so my alarm went off before 4. I like early mornings, but yeah, I was kind of feeling it. And I had a much longer nap than I intended because my cat decided to take that moment, that opportunity to lie down on my legs and purr, and I was like, can't get up now. And I'm sitting here surrounded by my children's clothes, all of their clothes, because I need to go through them and see what I have and what's been outgrown and try and sort them because they're just a blooming mess. So I'm going to do some of that while I'm talking, but that is not the topic of this vlog. The topic of this vlog is that my daughter Elin is going to have surgery again. And this time she's going to have a portacath inserted. So I'm going to explain to you what a portacath is, how they place it, and what I expect from Elin, because Elin is a complex needs child and surgery is never easy when it comes to her. And if you want to follow with our journey on how she gets on with this, then please subscribe. If you haven't already subscribed, then I'm guessing that you are fairly new here, so I want to wish you welcome. My name is Tova. I'm a single special needs mom. I have 2 children, Alice, who's 6 years old, and Elin, who is, how old is she? 9? 9 and a half. Elin has quadriplegic cerebral palsy. She has epilepsy, seizure disorder. She is tube fed. She's non-verbal. She's non-mobile. She is doubly incontinent. She has very complex medical needs. So she requires 100% minimum 1-to-1 care. And sometimes 2-to-1 care. I also have a cat called Luca. It's Luca on my t-shirt here, and she's wandering around here because she wants me to feed her. I don't have the girls today, as you can probably work out, because I would not be sitting doing something like sorting through clothes if I had my girls here. They are with their dad. We co-parent, we share parenting as equally as we can, but I'm a working mum and he is a stay-at-home dad, so by default they are probably with him a bit more. As I mentioned, I started at 5 this morning. I have some shifts that end at 10 o'clock at night. Those aren't really good times for dropping off or picking up children at somebody else's. But yes, a portacath. What on earth is a portacath and why is Elin getting one fitted? A portacath is a permanent vein access catheter. Instead of having to cannulate Elin, put needles into her hands or her feet, or at the stage we're at now, arms and legs, to try and find a vein, any vein that can cope with a needle, we're going to place a catheter in her chest. It's a very, very, very thin and flexible tube that goes into one of the central veins, central vessels, so in her chest. And that catheter will have a little port somewhere on her torso. It will be barely noticeable. It will be covered by a latex cover, so a tiny little bump under the skin really is what you'll be able to notice once it's all healed up. And once that is placed, that is our intravenous access to Elin forevermore. So whenever she goes into hospital and needs IV fluids and IV medicines, they can go into that port. And we don't need to cannulate her. Whenever we need to draw bloods from her, that can be done through that port, and we don't need to prick her and try and make her bleed from somewhere. And that's it. It's a very, very simple piece of medical equipment. It is very commonly used in cancer treatment. So when you have chemotherapy, you go through a lot of IV treatments, and just to save you being cannulated every time, it is very common to have a portacath placed. And in Elin's case, it's not because of cancer. In Elin's case, it's because she is hospitalized numerous times a year. If it's not surgery, then it's seizures. She goes into nasty spirals of seizures that we can't control medically at home, and she needs to go into hospital, and these seizures make her vomit uncontrollably. I'm using uncontrolled a lot in this. So she can't take anything in her stomach, and that means we can't give her any of her medicines, and she depends on her medicines. She's on anti-epileptic drugs, muscle relaxant drugs, anti-stomach acid drugs because she throws up so much. What else is she on? Anti-dribbling drugs. She's on melatonin to help her sleep and relax. And very often when she goes into these spirals of seizures, she also needs antibiotics. And we can't give her any of those because she's just throwing up. And so she needs to have all of those drugs intravenously. Now, Elin's problem is that she has no cannulatable, is that even a word? Cannulatable veins left, poor girl. Because she's been in hospital so much in her life and been cannulated ever since she was a baby. I mean, ever since she was born. And it's just, there's nothing left to put a needle into. Her veins are broken, they are feathery, they are thin, and it takes easily 5 to 7 attempts to cannulate her every time she needs to be cannulated. So she goes into hospital, we need to get IV into her. It takes several hours before somebody can come and do a cannula, and then it takes an hour to try and get the cannula in, and then it lasts for 48 hours if we're lucky before it fails, and then they have to do it all again. It's too much for her, poor thing. And so we are going to get this portacath placed so that forevermore we can avoid that issue of having her cannulated. There is already a port there where all of the IV requirements that she has at that hospitalization can just go. Done and dusted. Nice and easy. Ooh, itchy elbow. Sorry. I'm back. Hi. Had a food break. So anyway, risks and benefits of this. There's always risks of doing a surgical procedure. So what are the benefits and do they outweigh? I mean, obviously we have gone ahead and said, yes, Elin's going to have the portacath surgery. It was even me requesting it in the first place. So clearly I think the benefits outweigh. But you do a surgical procedure, there are risks with the general anaesthesia. And in Elin's case, these are quite severe risks. Elin suffers from post-anaesthetic delirium. She comes out of a GA furious and unreachable. She will scream herself blue in the face for 8-10 hours if we don't do anything to mitigate it. We mitigate it with a medicine called clonidine, which is a very strong calming medicine, so that she comes out of the GA quite heavily doped down. And with clonidine, she is just very, very sad for about 4 hours instead of just furious for 8. So it's a huge improvement. Yay! Complex needs mama here, can you tell? Yes. Yes, so Elin, she struggles really, really badly with general anaesthesia. She also has other post-anaesthetic reactions. She will always run a temperature. After anaesthesia for about 48 hours, she will have 38 degrees temperature. They call this a central fever, where basically when her central nervous system resets after having been put to sleep, it resets wrong. At least temperature-wise, it resets wrong. So she runs a central fever for about 48 hours after GA. It also triggers her seizures, and then the seizures trigger vomiting. So we always have this issue of her fitting and throwing up a lot. So a portacath surgery under GA would normally require 1 night in hospital. I am expecting Elin to be in for 3. 3 is optimistic, but I think we can do 3. I hope we can do 3. Those are kind of the immediate risks of Elin having GA, general anaesthesia. There is a small risk of the incision and insertion point becoming infected. And in the long term, there's a very, very small risk of a central line infection, so that actually the line becomes infected, or a blood clot, or it gets blocked. These risks are really minor. Really, really minor. They're very uncommon, but it's a risk. It has to be weighed up. Benefits of having it is we don't need to cannulate her again. And a portacath that can stay in for a long time. When you read online, it says can stay in for up to 6 years. I have friends whose children have had them for 10. and more. And I believe, I think I may have mentioned portacath surgery on a vlog before. I cannot for the life of me remember which one. But I'm fairly certain that one of you who watch my vlogs have said that you've had your portacath in for well over 10 years. So as long as nothing goes wrong with the portacath, like as long as there's no blood clot or no blockage or anything, it can stay in for a really long time. And to me that is just so beneficial because IV issues are gone. One thing I'm kind of hoping, and I'm not entirely certain of this, but I'm hoping that once she has the portacath, that opens up the option for us to put Elin under general anesthesia using IV anesthesia instead of gas. It's the gas she reacts badly to. And I know this because, well, partly because doctors have told me that when it comes to post-anesthetic delirium, from what they can tell, it's the gas anesthesia that is the culprit. But when Elin had her first hip surgery, she had a central line placed. So that is an IV line that goes in her neck and down into the central vessels. And the first central line snuck the wrong way. So instead of going into the central vessels, it snuck out into the arm. And so they had to sedate her again and place a new central line. And that sedation they did with IV only. And it was a different child. She woke up and she was fine. And I'm like, whoa! I cannot believe this difference. Like, I know you guys told me, but seriously, I cannot believe this difference. So it is my hope, but I don't know if it will manifest. But it is my hope that we can, from now on, or from once that line is placed, sedate her using IV only and not have to use the gas. Any other risks, benefits? Trying to think now. I've probably forgotten something really important. I'm sorry if I have. But yeah, effectively, I started looking into this a year ago when she had her first hip operation. That's when I started looking into portacaths. I'd heard of them before and kind of gone, I don't want to put her through extra procedures. But that was the point when I started to seriously look into it because we had such problems with cannulation and taking bloods and everything. I mean, there was one point when they used ultrasound to find a vein to use. Like, that is a bit extreme. Yeah, so I have wanted this done for a year. And I had to talk to Dad about it because it's not just my decision. And he was initially hesitant. He didn't want to put her through additional surgery if it wasn't absolutely necessary. But after him having had a chance to speak to Elin's pediatric consultant, as well as speak to the surgery team at Addenbrookes Hospital, he was like, okay, now I'm okay with this. And he went ahead and said, yes, let's do it. So yeah, in less than a week. They came up with the time really quickly. So he did a pre-op assessment. And then a few days later, he messaged me and said, oh, she's having surgery on blah date. And I'm like, that's in 2 weeks' time. What happened? Like, that's literally tomorrow. And then I turned around at work and I went, you know that rota you set for me in 2 weeks' time? Yeah, can I change it? They are amazing at my work and they have been super flexible when I've needed them to. And thankfully, I've not needed them to do it that much. And it was always understood, like I was really open and honest with them when I got that job, when I applied for the job, that I have this child. It is not a question of if she goes into hospital, it's a question of when. And yeah, if I don't need to mess them around, I don't mess them around. And when I have had to mess them around, they've been really good. So yeah, I'm happy. What have I got coming then in terms of vlogs on this? I am definitely going to vlog morning in hospital before her surgery, or at least I'm going to try. I don't yet know if we are in the morning lot or the afternoon lot, so we're either going to be in at 7 in the morning or we're going to be in at 11, depending on when her surgery slot is. I will vlog something after her surgery as well. When she comes out of it, she is probably going to be needing me quite a lot. She usually does, but I also usually manage to get some footage. of what she's like when she just wakes up, and me sitting there singing to her, because it's what I do, I sing. Yeah. And then how she gets on afterwards. Those vlogs are also obviously coming, so look out for those. If you have any questions, then pop them in the comment field below. If you have anything you can share about your own portacath experiences, then again, just do that. And don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss any of the upcoming vlogs, whatever they're gonna be. Hi girl. Come here, can I wipe that nose?
Hello, right now I'm eating my pudding.
She is. Hello. Oh, should we perhaps close that door just for the tidiness look of it?
Yeah, it looks more better there.
It does. So today, Alice, I still need to do Elin's medicines. Can I do that without having you on my lap, please? Apparently not. So for once, I'm actually really kind of happy that I'm behind on all my editing, because that means that I have a chance to record a new ending to the vlog I recorded the other day, which was about Elin's upcoming surgery.
And her surgery was supposed to be today, but they changed until her surgery.
Yeah, her surgery was supposed to be...
It's going to be a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it was supposed to be today. Clearly, she's not in hospital. I'm not in hospital. Alice is not with her dad. My lovely, lovely work sorted out my rota and freed me up for these days that Elin was supposed to be in hospital, so I could do that. And my lovely, lovely friend was going to help out with taking Alice to and from school, so I could still work the other shifts that were set, and Rob could be in hospital, and you know, all of those things were sorted. And then my phone rang and he went, "I'm so sorry, but we're gonna have to reschedule." And the reason they're rescheduling is because there's a child in the oncology department who needs that urgent surgery time more, or needs that sooner surgery time more urgently than Elin does. So basically we have a child with cancer who needs a portacath quicker, and we don't argue with that, okay? We do not argue with that, absolutely, because that surgery is not emergency surgery for Elin. It is something that I have talked about for a year. And it is actually, because it's exactly a year since Elin went in to have her hips done. Her first hip.
Now she has robot hips because there's metal.
Yeah, there is. You know, we're always going to let somebody who is an emergency go first.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that being said, it's, you know, there's a bit of a personal inconvenience for me, because I then had to go, hey, lovely boss who makes the schedules at work, you know that new schedule you set for a couple of weeks' time? Yeah, we're going to have to change all of that because they rearranged the surgery. They've set it all up again, basically, at work, sorted out my timetable once more, and been super flexible once more. And yeah, today I have not been at work. It's been kind of nice. I slept. I had a long nap. I walked Elin to school, I came home, I sat down and ate a bit, and then I napped a bit, and then I tidied up on this table, and now I'm looking at the table going, where did I tidy up? Because now I have medicines and syringes everywhere. I do.
Because she's making her meds for sleepy time. And she's cerebral palsy.
Yes. And Elin has had... What have you had today?
Cerebral palsy.
She has cerebral palsy every day. Big sense of humour failure.
Yeah.
Hard to believe right now, isn't it? Yeah.
All you need to go to find some of our videos is to go on Parentxp.
That's right. And you can also find us on Instagram and on Facebook as Parentxp. And I don't do a lot of Twitter. But yeah, definitely come and find us on Instagram and Facebook and join our little community there. Anything else you want to say, Elin? Do you want to say, Mummy was horrible. She left me to cry while she made food for me. This is not okay.
But she has to make it for us, otherwise we will be starving.
Somebody call my social worker, my mother neglects me. Is that you little brat? You're such a rat bag. Look at her.
I can't even bite my...
Okay, well on that lovely note, child, we're going to stop this vlog. So we're going to say thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button.
Yeah.
And we'll see you again very soon. Bye.
Bye.